Hi again, this is Jill Gillespie. My pronouns are she, hers. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. And this is now part 2 of our office desk yoga series. And I think we can just get right into it. And so you can continue staying in your chair wearing whatever you are already wearing. What we'll want to do right away is remember that neutral centering foundation that we set up from our part 1. And so if your chair is not already ready for your butt, you can set that up again. And so there will be a real desk eventually that I will use and I'll put here. And so when I sit this way, I'm facing this imaginary desk that's here, this desk that's here. But for these first sessions, we are a little bit more into ourselves for a little bit than actual movement. And so I want to take a few moments to center or recenter as we prepare for this other part of our practice. And so planting and rooting both feet on the ground, maybe an opportunity to stretch the toes, circling the ankles maybe. And then maybe scooting all the way toward the front of your chair so you can use your own support to hold you upright if that's comfortable. And so we'll find that place again in the room that we can start to focus on. Or maybe resting down our eyes this time. And we reflect again on that mantra or phrase or word that we will use as our anchor during this series. We remember this place of calm when there is something that happens that causes stress in our body, in our mind, in that moment. We evaluate those things that we mentally or physically jotted down in our minds or on our paper of where we see ourselves giving too much of ourself away for other people's convenience, where we create extra unnecessary work for the sake of other people's benefit. And even knowing and seeing those things on paper may not resolve them. We may not be able to see a path out of this work or out of these duties that we have. And so for the moment, they do feel necessary. So in that time of breath and understanding that this is work that I have to do, that I don't have a path out of it, that it is mine, it is my burden to have. then we can start to reframe our thoughts about our value within them. And start to separate our nature, our divine self, our true self, and identify it apart from that job, from that work. We are not our jobs. We are full beings with full lives who happen to have jobs as part of that. And sometimes we have this job to survive, to thrive in the culture that we happen to have been born into. We might use this job as a path toward the next thing, that we know that this isn't our stopping place. It's just a rest on the journey or a hurdle, depending on how you view it. But our job is not us. And so if you're having a day where it's harder to recognize and separate from that, something you might physically do in the chair that you're sitting in, if it makes sense and you can turn away from it, I might offer that you actively turn away from it. And so you might be able to spin in your chair. You may have to pick it up and move it around. But sometimes we have to take that very physical disconnect from the desk and looking at the same office doors that we look at and the same people we look at. And we can take some time to find a different place of focus in a different point in the room. And now that we've physically set a boundary between us and our desk, we might feel our breath deepen just a little bit. And we might start to notice where we're physically holding tension in our body, where this stress kind of manifests on our person here. And so I'm going to start at the top of our head and start to work our way down. And just find some perspective change in our body that is so used to staring forward, sitting in a certain way, responding in a certain way, and we'll change the routine a little bit. And so starting at our forehead and our face here, we'll bring all of our focus to us, and then you'll start to scrunch and create tension in your face. So you'll squish your eyes, you'll scrunch up your face, you'll purse your lips, and just hold that for a second while you breathe. And then when you're ready, let it all open, and open the eyes wide, let the eyebrows go up, let the mouth open wide, let the jaw move. Let the lips move around the teeth. And then when you're ready, do that again, starting to scrunch everything in. It's probably best for me that you do this so you don't look at my face. And then when you're ready, just let it open. And so now we'll do it one more time and we'll add breath if it makes sense to do breath where you are, okay? And so we'll start to scrunch our face, scrunch all of our features. Taking a couple breaths. And then when you're ready to soften this time, we'll sigh it all out. So 1, 2, 3. Open open everything wide. And we'll start to let the face kind of soften in that neutral place between really scrunched up and really wide. And find our breath again. Find the place we've been staring at. And then we'll take a few moments here right in our eyeballs to start to draw an imaginary square with our vision. And so we'll start to look up and to the left, and then we'll move across and we'll look up to the right. Keep breathing, look down, and then across. And so continue breathing and moving your eyes in all the directions. Noticing the environment, not holding your breath. And then after a couple cycles, switch direction. Kind of like the feeling like I get to side-eye people, but then I'd be like, no, it's my yoga, I'm practicing. Just kidding, kind of. And then go ahead, you can blink your eyes, let them come back through center. Take that nice big deep breath again. And then remind yourself of your mantra. Maybe this added layer of remembering, I am not my job. And so here we'll move into that kind of same activity right in our shoulders. And so as you're ready, start to add tension, shrugging the shoulders up to your ears, shrugging, 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 and then let them soft. And then you might even draw them away from your ears, pulling them down. Taking those nice big deep breaths. And then we'll do that a couple more times. Inhaling, shrugging the shoulders up to the ears. And then let them down, and then maybe even actively draw them away from the ears. And then when you're ready, one more time, inhaling them up, taking a couple of breaths, and then if it's possible where you are, just let them down. And now here we'll find that place that's not too far up and not pulling too far down to be center. And then we'll start to add some circles here as we bring the shoulders forward and up and back and down. So we'll kind of draw squares now with our shoulders. Continuing to breathe on your cycle that makes sense in your body. Remembering not to hold the breath. Our continued breath reminds our body that we're safe, that we are calm, that there's nothing to be afraid of. And then when you're ready, switch direction. Remembering again to breathe. It's like 80% of what these videos are going to be, is a reminder of breath. And then when you feel ready and done, you can soften, again, the shoulders right back through neutral. We'll pause here for one last second in our seat. It might feel nice to let your hands stay face down on your thighs, or you might flip them palms up. As we continue our deep breath, and we remember that I am not my job. And then whenever you're ready, you can slowly and carefully return back to facing your desk. Practice your sitting and breathing as many times as you need, and I will see you again soon. Peace.